How does $43 million under contract sound without needing any listings and without having to run around and show buyers a million properties? In this video, what we're going to be doing is breaking down a simple proven blueprint that my good friend Francisco Isaula from Arizona has been using in order to very simply with an iPhone leverage creative video strategies in order to put massive amounts of deals under contract. And what he's also going to share with you is how to tap into a niche related to your passion so that you can become the dominant agent within your community just by doing the things that you love. Everything he talks about is so simple, it's so clear, and anybody can do it, which is why it's so powerful. So today we're going to be breaking down the blueprint of how to leverage social media and video in order to skyrocket your business as a real estate agent. And the last thing before we get started is I'm going to be linking all of his accounts below in the description and in the pinned comments so that you can check out firsthand and see what we're talking about in this video. And also, if you want to book a one-on-one call to talk about partnering with Francisco, then he's also got a calendar link in the description and the pinned comment as well. So without further ado, let's dive into the blueprint of how to absolutely dominate your local market in an efficient way by leveraging modern strategies. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and I'm super excited for this one because not only do I have on one of my best friends, but we've got on a guy that has absolutely crushed it and dominated by building a very relatable personal brand within a community that was in something that he's just simply passionate about. And now he is just crushing it with YouTube and Instagram and leveraging new construction and new development opportunities. And we're going to dive into this today and really show you guys, how you can tap into your community to establish a brand and a community of people that are coming to you directly, and then how to amplify that using social media to attract clients at scale. So super excited to have on my friend Francisco today from Arizona. What's going on, man?
What's up, brother? I'm glad to be here.
I'm stoked to have you here too, man. It's been a long time coming. And again, just to see the success you've had by, being relentlessly consistent with your content, constantly honing your craft and becoming a student of the industry and always sharpen those skill sets. I'm really excited to see, what you've done. So before we kind of get into the details of first brand and then kind of, attraction on the social side, why don't you just give people a quick little 2-minute intro of, who you are, what you've done, and, what got you to this point?
Yeah, sounds great, man. Happy to be here. Francisco Isaula, Arizona. I'm the AZ bearded realtor. So anywhere you look on Google, anywhere, it'll pop me up. So I've established that because I dig the beard. That's my thing. I'm, more laid back. So I got into the industry about 5 years ago, came from a corporate environment and really came with a passion to help others. That was really the biggest thing, was helping others get a better experience that I got when I purchased my first home. And it really, when I connected my passion and what I was already doing with what I wanted to do, they just synced up. They just really synced up. Just giving back to our communities, just put me out there as a person of contact that would be relatable to other people.
Definitely. And you've had some pretty incredible success from a production perspective, and we'll kind of get into that. But I think it's really important to just talk about, how relatable you are and how you've been able to leverage that in a community that you just have a passion in, because a lot of people are looking at, how to identify their personal brand, how to start, what kind of niche should they get into? And you kind of took the same approach that I just did, which is, what do I actually enjoy doing? So why don't you talk about the community that you actually started to tap into, and then we'll kind of go through how you started to leverage that community to start to get clients to come directly to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved CrossFit. I love CrossFit, and it gets me going. It gives me a sense of competition, and it just pushes me. I joined CrossFit back in 2015, and most recently, when I started my real estate career, I started out with Legion of Power CrossFit, and that community just accepted me. Like, it was a community. When I say community, I mean a community. Like, they did potlucks together, they did events together, they did outings together, they did CrossFit competitions together. And so I found myself getting super close to these individuals and joining them at all of their outings. And it was just something that I love to do because I love that about a community, feeling a part of something. And it really just lent itself well that I was able to help, with my real estate knowledge. But first came the relationship. that relationship with going out to these events with them really
Yeah.
built a strong trust that is unbreakable.
Definitely. And it's been cool to see that, I think a lot of agents, when they're looking at building a personal brand or kind of, how they should be perceived by others or how they should look in terms of industry standards, is they think of a traditional like three-piece suit, tux. They have a certain perception of how you have to look if you want to build a strong brand that does high volume in terms of high production. So you've kind of taken a different approach that is much more laid back. And why don't you talk about that in terms of how that aligns with your community and also why you decided to kind of go down that route?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was the same. I thought the same way when I got into the industry. I was wearing a suit, wearing a tie, trying to get those professional pictures out there. And that's just not me all the time. That's not me all the time. Of course, I love to dress up. Who doesn't like a nice suit? But when I got into CrossFit, I was wearing shorts, t-shirts, athletic trainer shoes, and that all the time, even in outings. Like, it was all the time. So that's where I got my comfort level from. And that's when I just started to kind of go towards what I was more comfortable with, being confident in myself and what I do. My knowledge is going to really push me forward. It's not really how I'm going to look. I always keep myself presentable, but it's what I put out there that really locks in people's interest in me. And so what I did was I rolled with it. I'm a shorts, polo, t-shirt, flip-flop guy, wearing the beard, even to showings, not listing appointments, because especially if you're trying to win listings, they are definitely first impressions if they don't know you. But people that I do know, I stay in my comfort and they're comfortable with me.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. And I think it's about kind of, breaking down that barrier of people that, oftentimes a lot of people are kind of compensating for their lack of knowledge with their image. So they think that if they look a certain way, well, people aren't going to question how much they know about the industry because they look the part. Whereas I think the ones that actually thrive are the ones that, again, are constantly studying, constantly improving their skill sets. And when you talk to them as a buyer or seller, their image, as long as, like you say, they're presentable, is not a point of contingency or an objection. It's, wow, this person actually knows what they're talking about. They're going to be, not only somebody that's going to help me more than anybody else, but also they're relatable and I would actually enjoy working with them, right? They're authentic and they're not coming across in a certain way just to be somebody. But now I think it's time to roll into what a lot of people are going to be curious about, which is how you started leveraging primarily like video, YouTube, and Instagram in order to get pretty incredible sales. You mentioned that you've got about $43 million under contract in the last 6 months of new construction. So why don't we kind of go through a sequence of events of, number one, why new construction? And then we'll start to talk about how you've actually applied video and social media to use that to get clients.
Absolutely. I love video. When I first started, I knew that video was the future. It really was. Social media was the future. It was going to be the easiest way to get in front of masses of people. And so when I started diving into to video, I just recently looked back at my very first videos, how terrible they were, but I was still putting stuff out there and still just trying, just learning, because I knew the impact of what it was going to do. And so that's why I really focused on the video side. What's helping me with the social media aspect of video is being able to show clients real time what's going on in their process of either buying the home, selling the home, or what construction stage they're in has been massive. I do Monday morning check-ins with all of my clients, all of my new builds. I go through and I record and you'll see them on social media on Mondays. I'll show them the process. I'll show social media the process, but they know exactly where they're at in their process of the transaction. I translate that into social media and people get curious. People love seeing new things. They love seeing new builds. They love seeing the new trends that are coming out. And I get so many people reaching out just from those morning check-ins of, hey, where was that at? Or what house was this? What builder was this? And so that has really helped me be able to put out more content and know what my clientele wants.
Yeah, it's a really cool approach because, again, the reason why HGTV and HBO and all these shows exist is because people are genuinely interested in the behind the scenes of the real estate industry. The only problem is, unless you live in New York or LA, you don't get those shows. So everybody has an opportunity to be that agent in their market, and most just aren't capitalizing on the consumer demand that every single city has. And I love that you've done that, but also I think a byproduct of that most people don't think about is whenever I've gone up against, or gone for listing presentations where it's a property that previously did not sell, the number one question I'll ask is, why did you think it didn't sell? What did you not like about the past realtor? And every single time it's communication. So when you look at the ability to do what you're doing, which is tapping into a ton of things at once symbiotically, which is you're creating content, you're communicating effectively, and you're showing the behind the scenes so people never feel out of the loop. So I think it's really cool that you've kind of brought that together and been able to amplify it through social. So, in terms of your market too, what kind of led you to the new build opportunities? And then how did you kind of tap into that niche? Because there's a couple other people in our group that have done that too. And a lot of people are curious of like, how do you get into the conversations with the developers, or how do you find out what's going on and what's new, and how to marry that with some of your clients? So how did that niche kind of come about?
Yeah, and so it came about 2.5 years ago. New build was hot. New build was where it was at, and all of my clients were leaning towards that area of real estate. And so I got in solely by speaking to not only just the listing agents, but the agents around at every single new build. Like, I got to know everyone. I got to know all of the agents. And when I presented to them, hey, I want to bring clients, and I want to record, and I want to produce content for you builders, like, they ate it up. Like, they literally will eat it up, because that's free advertisement for them. It's free marketing for them all the time. And they're never going to say no. They're never going to say, hey, don't film in our super high priced, high model. They want you to. They want you to. How I got in with builder developers is through the city. So actually through the city, they have meetings every year of new development, new business that's coming to town. I'm a nerd. I sit there on these web calls with the city councils that are having their meetings about businesses that are coming into town, developments that are currently happening. Once that happens, I tap into the people that I currently know in my community through CrossFit, that I know a lot of people now. I know a lot of people at the city. I know a lot of people that are in business, and utilizing those contacts gets me to the right people. And then those conversations just come with content, and what I can give value to them. Because at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's about what I can provide them. And once they understand that it's that type of value, what it's for them, then all barriers start to break down. Simple as
Big
that.
time. It makes complete sense, man. I think, I love your approach. It was very similar to mine, a couple of years ago, where a lot of people think, and again, this is just, I think, a limiting belief of the industry, is that a lot of people think if some other agent has a listing, number one, they're jealous. Number two, they think that, well, somebody else has got it. I can't make anything from this. And it's basically like, if I don't have the listing, it's none of my business. And one of the approaches that I love is you just say, hey, if they've got the listings, they're plugged in with the builders, let's actually build relationships with them, because it's not just who you know in terms of your general market, it's who you know in terms of agents that can open up opportunities. And then also, how can you bring buyers? Because whether you buy or sell, you're getting paid either which way.
Yep.
And I think it's a beautiful thing that you've been able to do that, because now a lot of people wait until they have a listing to create content. You've been able to create content with buyers. And again, like you're saying, who's going to say no to free advertising? And a lot of people think that there's going to be no opportunity for that. So I think one of the things a lot of people are always curious about too, when they start hearing video, is what's your process like? Like, what are you filming on? What style of videos in terms of the content you're putting out? And like, what's your process for like editing, thumbnails, things like that, to kind of give people an idea of like, if I was to start today, what would I do?
Absolutely. And I've grown in my development of video. I do more, I can do more upscale video for my YouTube videos, and for, more educational, but honestly, it's this. It's literally this that I carry with me all the time. And that's really what I use right now when I'm out in the field. When I'm out there doing content, I have this. I have a microphone that's connected to my phone, just so that audio is king when you're doing anything. And that's really where it takes me. Is my phone is a portal to all of what I'm doing. And then when I get back into the office or when I'm here and able to do things, I can edit on my phone through iMovie if you have an iPhone, or I can do it right in like certain apps like CapCut, things of that sort. I was using Fiverr for my thumbnails now, but recently me and you connected with your high converting social media team, and we're going to be working together on creating a more fluid process, so that I don't have to do it and take it on. That it can be done for me and I can put more time into creating content. But you really can just start with this. That's
Yeah.
literally it.
I love that, man. And again, I love to drive that point home because so many people come to me and say, Mike, I can't buy $1,000 camera, so I can't put out high quality content. Or Mike, I can't afford somebody to edit my videos, so I can't record content and get it up there. Or, there's always an excuse for some people, but you look at you look at Sumit, you look at all these people that are doing the highest level in our group in terms of attracting clients consistently through their content. And it comes down to this. It's nothing fancy, because again, when it gets fancy, like we've got in both of our studios, it takes time to set up. It takes time to get the lighting right and everything like that. But in real estate, it's in real time. How can you just get it done in the moment with the least amount of resistance and get the content out there? And I did the same thing. iMovie, shot of myself. All of my thumbnails are still taken on portrait mode using this. There's no magic sauce, and the equipment's not going to make a difference. And I think a lot of people confuse quality content with quality in terms of production value instead of quality of value. And I think the ones that are winning are the ones saying, I got all I need in my pocket. I'm going to focus on over delivering on value, knowledge, experience. Whereas a lot of people are saying, hey, I don't really have anything to offer, so hopefully I'm going to compensate for my lack of knowledge with higher quality. But nobody's going to watch it if you're not delivering value. So you've done really well too with other content aside from just kind of the updates and things like that. So talking about things like on Instagram and some of the other content that you're posting, what are you finding is attracting the most clients? Because you've got a lot of people moving to Arizona from other places. What type of content do you find is making them gravitate towards you and then opening up that dialogue?
What's crazy is reels.
Yeah.
I recently started providing more reels of just education about different areas of the buying process, the selling process, or relocating process. And reels are booming. They literally are booming, which are drawing more attraction to my page. I'm currently getting about 1 to 2 people from out of state weekly that are just inquiring. Hey, and for me, that's potential. That's super potential, because follow-up is king in our industry. So if we have conversations weekly like this, that's fantastic, because that gives just more opportunity for me to help others. So reels are super important. They're super short. They don't have to be high production, high value, or high creation. It's really simple. Just provide value. You know this stuff. You literally know this stuff. You work on it daily. You see the contracts. You see, the things, the ins and out of the industry. Use that to make knowledgeable reels. You get questions daily from your clients. Take down those questions and turn them into content, because if they have it, everyone's going to have it.
Yeah. It makes complete sense. And a lot of people, again, are kind of overcomplicating the process of content. And I love that you kind of just break it down, because this is the knowledge that everybody has. And it seems obvious to us because we're in the industry, but to the average person, it's not obvious. So, I love that you've taken an approach to that's value driven. A lot of people in our group have done that, because the misconception is that in order to thrive on TikTok or Instagram Reels, you've got to be dancing around like a fool. You've got to be doing all these trends and silly stuff. But every single person in our group that is getting the best results from TikTok and Reels are literally providing local community and market information and lifestyle. And that's it. So it's really cool that this is stuff, again, I love that it's low production value, because sometimes people are intimidated with YouTube longer form because there is an inherent higher quality that the general public is going to expect. Whereas Reels, it's raw, it's in the moment. And again, lower production value actually seems to be more relatable and converts higher. Now, when we start looking at your Instagram, and I think this is one of the last points I really want to drive into, is you've done really well with just showcasing you. And what I mean by that is, we see Mary Soul on there. We see, your kids on there. We see all kinds of aspects of your life. And a lot of people that think that they need to, if they want to crush it on social media, that they have to be doing all these professional like model shots, and they have to go out for staged photo shoots, and they have to be at these luxury listings with the cars and everything like that. But when you look at your Instagram, that is literally who you are in person. And, I've been there to see that. And I think that's the coolest part is people get to know the real you. And because it's so genuine, it's pretty easy for them to get to like you and then eventually trust you as well. So what's kind of your process about content and, how you've been able to blend in your personal life to this as well?
Absolutely. And I'm a big believer in just being authentic, being true to yourself, being raw, being open. They, my whys for everything in life is my family, my kids, my wife, being able to take care of them. But I care about them so much, and I want to showcase them because I'm proud of them, and I'm excited to be a father, be excited to be a husband. But it's really true. Like, people are, when they look at your page, they follow people that they like, trust, and know. And I want to do that in my social media because I'm not able to have these one-on-one conversations with everyone. And if they can come to my page and see my family, see my kids playing, because those are my values. I'm at every one of my kids' sports. I'm at all the events. I want to be there for my wife as the best husband that I can. And so I want to portray that on social media because I want them to feel like they know me without even talking to me yet. And really, it's just a mix of every week there's some kind of event, some kind of kid thing. There's a husband thing that we did, a date night. There's homes. That's my constant every week. That's my life, because that's what you see in social media. That is my life. And so I just post it out there.
Yeah, it's incredible because again, the average person that's buying or selling a house has a family. So that, when they can relate to somebody else as a family, that again gives you so much more to talk about. And when people can see that you're into CrossFit and they're into fitness, it gives you more to talk about. And it's, it allows you to engage in authentic conversations and not just, hey, do you want to buy or sell? Because I'm looking to do that too. Like, it really allows you to kind of open up dialogue and actually build real relationships with these people. Now, kind of as we're bringing this full circle, what would your advice be to people that are saying, you know what, Mike, Francisco, like I haven't been on social media. I understand the importance of it. I want to get on video. I need to start posting on reels and everything. Where do I start today? What is your best tip for people, in terms of sequence events of how to just get started in terms of video and going through that process?
So I was definitely one at the very beginning. I was definitely one that was in my head, that wanted to be perfect, that wanted everything the right way. And you get that paralysis by analysis. My advice, what I kind of did to get out of this funk, was just record. Don't have the intention to post, but just press record. Just record yourself. Get comfortable in front of the camera. Press record and have a database and later you're going to laugh at yourself when you see these, because it's really just you. That's you honing in your skills. So if you're fearful right now, just press record without the intention of posting, but that's your practice. And there's going to be one that hits and it's going to make you feel good. And then just post it. Don't care what people think. This is your livelihood. This is your business. What do you want from it? Like, what's your why on this? And if it's big enough, it's going to make you want to post, because you need to take care of yourself, your family, those around you. And you're going to have to do it. So you got to figure that out.
Yeah, I completely agree. And honestly, that's my approach in the beginning is, I used to just record myself over and over and over for about 30 minutes a day for months, until it got to the point where it's like, hey, this is starting to come together. It's time to put this out there. And, the funny thing is you think everybody's going to judge you when you put it out there. And then you'll literally just see a stream of comments from everybody in your circle being like, love the video. So excited to see you putting this out. Love what you're doing. Super proud of you. Like, I don't think I've ever seen somebody put out one of their first videos and actually have anything within reason negative to be posted, because people are excited for you. They know how difficult that is. I think the average stat is when you look at the top 5 things people are most fearful of in North America, which is based on studies, number 4 is speaking in public or on camera. So everybody knows how difficult that is. So they're going to support you because they know they wouldn't do it. So when you're
Well,
doing it, it's really exciting. And I think it's awesome, man. And kind of, as we, wrap this up, we're always curious as to, why you decided to take a leap and explore a different option in terms of the brokerage, in terms of, you were at a previous brokerage, you were crushing it, had great volume, and you were doing really well. And I remember being on that journey with you and seeing that you were just genuinely happy and loved your broker and everything else like that. What kind of made you take into consideration maybe doing things a bit differently, and what kind of led you to EXP?
so and that's a great question, because once I was at a good brokerage, it was a transaction fee based brokerage, so I was keeping a lot of my money, but my goals and aspirations, they weren't being met. I wasn't being challenged. I wasn't getting pushed forward to that next step. And so, I started sitting and thinking like, hey, what's my exit plan? How am I gonna, bring more income, multiple streams of income, and be able to help others do the same thing? And so once I kind of had those questions in mind, you're the first person I went to. I had heard about from a bunch of other EXP people, and I was just turned off because of the perception of what EXP is in the industry. If you don't know them, then you have this perception that it's just salesy, pushy agents, and that's all they want. But you're my brother. You went to my wedding, and so I trusted in you because I know you. So I went to you, and you really broke it down for me. You had a one-on-one call with me, and you broke it down for me. You broke down the numbers that I currently had versus what I could be making at EXP, and I'd be making more. Be making more for doing the same thing, but now I've got other avenues of income that could come in. I mean, that's all the sense that it needed to make for me, because again, my whys are my family and our future. And if I can add to those by adding more income, I'm all for it. And
Yeah.
so on top of what you bring as far as the wolf pack in our group, the social media training, the investment training, the masterminds, like that, I couldn't find that anywhere without actually paying big money to a mentor or a group of people that was actually putting those types of functions on. And the fact that I got that at part of your group, dude, I mean, that was life-saving, and it kind of got me to that next level where I'm at right now.
I love it, man. And I'm so proud to be, and honored to not only be your partner, but to see what you're doing. And I think, it's really cool because for me, my family is my why too. And when you could start look at it, a lot of people, their family is going to be their why. And this is a model that allows you to, again, create that security blanket for them, create the exit strategy. And I think what a lot of realtors, focus on, I've got a video coming out about this, is that the majority of realtors become rich, but they cannot become wealthy because they can make money freedom. But if you have, whether you've got $100,000, if you've got $10 million, if you don't have time to enjoy it, both are equal. And at the end of the day, what you'll start realizing, because I've gotten to that point where I've gotten the stuff that I want through money freedom, but what you cherish a lot more is the time freedom that allows you to go enjoy time with your family, your friends, and doing the things that you love. So it's been incredible to see your transition through here. And everybody, I'm going to make sure, again, as I'll mention in the introduction, to make sure you check out Francisco's content, his Instagram, his YouTube, and keep an eye on everything that he's doing. And make sure that you book a link or book a meeting with him to talk more about partnering, because when you're in alignment with people like this that are executing at the highest level every single day, proximity is power and proximity is influence. And unfortunately, so many agents are wanting to scale their business. They're wanting to do things a different way. But if in reality, if you're surrounded by 20, 30, 50, 100 other agents that aren't doing in that way, you're going to be pulled in a direction that's not going to allow you to get there. You're a product of your environment. And that's, I think, what we've been able to do here with people like Francisco, is aligning with him and making sure that your environment is one that's going to allow you to scale and build the business of your dreams. So thank you so much, brother. It's been a pleasure to have you on here. Dropped a ton of value that I know is going to get people pointed in the right direction. And I can't wait to just continue to see you thrive in this business.
Thank you so much, dude. It was a pleasure to be here. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for what you're building and what you're bringing us along. That's what I love, dude. You're bringing us along, and that's important to a lot of people.
Definitely. Well, thank you guys again so much. Please make sure to check out all of his stuff. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the video, and we will see you guys next time.